Aye.
Ms. Wertschok.
Aye.
Mr. Kenny Young.
Aye.
Ms. Alt.
Aye.
All right, we're going to start our meeting with our first table. Our next meeting is going to be in these chambers on Wednesday, the 16th of April at 7 p.m. For any items that are not moved forward tonight, if they're tabled. Okay. Okay. Hopefully we don't have repetitiveness all night. Okay. Our first tabled item is Robin Siniak, Calvert Collision, 4959 Genesee Street.
Good evening, Robin Sterniak with GPI Site Engineering, representing Caliber Collision, Cross Architects, who's out of Texas. They may be joining online, maybe not. We were here last month for the variance for the special, the vehicle use area on the southwest corner of the site. We don't meet the required 10 feet. We have 4.4 feet. And I think I have boards if you want to see it again, if Eric can't bring it up large enough. Do you guys remember the project, or you want me to get back into?
The only question I have is, we talked about compensation.
Yep. They have agreed to that. That was. It's in the paperwork. Last week we received planning board conditional approval based on your approval as well as EAC meeting. It's been stated in several different cases that the owner is agreeable. The first mobile home on the south side. Yeah, and almost 100 feet from the townhomes on Cala. So. We've actually provided almost like a small access driveway to that pump station on that plan. You can see it if the town would ever wish to extend it further. That's provided for already.
Is there any other questions from the board?
No.
Is there any other questions from the audience on this project? At this point, I'll entertain a motion to grant the variance as requested with the condition that the town has access to that pumping station.
Okay, I'll second. In the EAC meeting?
With the condition.
With the condition that approval from the EAC.
Got to be proper. So. Gotcha.
Is there a second?
I did.
James.
On the motion, Mr. Miranda?
Aye.
Ms. Wertschok?
Aye.
Mr. Kenny Young?
Aye.
Ms. Alt?
Aye. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Aye. Our first new item for the night is Brian Young, 6386 Transit Road, LLC.
Applicant Brian Young, on behalf of 6386 Transit Road LLC with 6386 Transit Road, Cheektowaga, New York, has proposed additional parking spaces in front of the principal buildings, 200 and 400 along Transit Road, within 5 feet of the partial line, of which is not permitted in front of the principal buildings at a partial line setback of less than 5 feet. You have the floor.
Hi, good evening. I'm Joe Young with Young Development on behalf of 6386 Transit Road LLC. I have hard copies. Do you guys want some hard copies to take a peek at? Good
Yeah.
with the board? So,
Yeah, we'll take
yeah,
it.
sure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Oh, this is great.
Yes. So the additional parking that we're requesting tonight is going to be going in front of building 200 and 400 at Midtown Apartments. The reason why we're asking for the additional parking is simply for accommodation for the residents that are moving into the building. At first, when we were going through the site plan approval process, we have the amount of parking throughout the property when the property is complete. But currently, the residents of 200 and 400, because there's no additional parking in front of those buildings, they're having to walk extensively throughout the site to try and find parking. So, the renewals haven't been as strong for those buildings, and the leasing activity hasn't been as strong for those buildings. So, this is our proposal to help cure that problem. Yes.
When I believe we asked that question about the parking, and we were gonna have a roadway through there, so the roadway wasn't put in. When you do this parking area, like 30 different parcels, am I correct?
35 additional parking spots.
That's a
yes.
lot. And they're gonna have to back up towards the sidewalk, if there is a sidewalk. How are we gonna do this?
So that's a good point.
What's the distance between the spots in front of the apartments and the spots on?
So that's a good question.
Now, was this when I got?
Say it one more-
I got-
okay. Yeah.
Was this part of the original site plan or not?
Yeah, sure. it was.
No,
No, it wasn't.
no, it wasn't part of the original site plan.
No, they're just that
They add, well, but we talked about a roadway there to begin with.
easy to drive through. That's what James is moving to.
I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's still a roadway that connects in front of those buildings.
You show us up there. We'll wait until the data here.
So can we scroll down a little bit to the other? This is
Right on the
200
bottom,
This
right
is
here.
200 and this is 400. And then you can see the additional parking that we're proposing closest to transit.
And how wide are the spots?
Standard size, whatever standard size parking.
Oh, it's all turned.
Yeah.
And then what's it this? We had 2 parking spots. Front of the building to what's gonna be on Transit Road.
You're saying what's the distance between here and here?
Yeah, like James just asked, they're gonna back up and back into the cars behind them.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, we're not proposing to widen this. But I can tell you this is, it's a 2-lane. You can come and go through that area. It's not a
Well,
one.
now you can. Now you're gonna take out a lane, you're not gonna have 2 lanes on, correct?
No. No, so this is all here currently.
Right.
This whole drive.
I've been there,
We're just adding that piece.
You're adding the parking,
The
so
parking
you're eliminating some of the lane.
for them pulling out, pulling in. Correct.
Yeah, okay,
And moving closer to transit route.
because that's where.
Correct. Yes.
I'm concerned about Transit Road. I mean, if the state ever does any more work or anything, what are you gonna do then? I mean, I know it doesn't bother you now, but at some point in time, that is pretty darn full there. I just couldn't believe that when I saw that.
We would have to work with them. If they came through and proposed something to us, we would have to make adjustments or do whatever the state would ask us to do.
Of course, I know that, but for now, I'm just thinking for this period now, not what might happen 10 years down the road. But I mean, this was brand new, everything should have been thought of, okay?
I understand.
And it's not a good thing. I mean, I'm sorry that it ever went in that thick. We could have moved just a couple feet back and you would have had the room. But you would have had to cut down in the back on one house or something. But
And at this point, my concern is we are on Transit Road. Not only is it busy in that area, we have an elementary school in Lancaster across the street.
Mhm.
I drive down there all the time. There are bus routes coming and going. For kids drop off, parent pickup, the line of that elementary school picking up kids at that elementary school is out onto Transit Road as it is. And we have now people coming and going to work, and we're adding more cars and more traffic to a congested area because you are struggling with renting and people need more cars in the apartments. I'm concerned that
Yeah.
that's an issue. That there's gonna be more cars coming in and out of that side street on Cloverleaf and on the Transit Road out of your main entrance at peak hours of rush hour, parents getting home, parents getting kids off the school bus runs. And we're gonna add more parking spots to create more congestion in an area with an elementary school and a playground across.
I understand. I guess the point is I'm not here to adjust any kind of the exit or entry points of the property, just looking to add additional parking. So I don't believe it would add to the congestion. It's just trying to help us sell those two front buildings a little bit better, especially as our phase 2 comes on. And a lot of people want to go to those back units.
You know, lower the rents a little.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right. But someone to get someone into the day you tell me that I gotta walk from over here to walk over here to my building in the dead of winter, I'm gonna submit my notice, I'm gonna be looking for somewhere else to live.
Now, has anybody looked at the problem at night when the car is pulling into the parking spot towards transit, the light shining onto the traffic on transit? Anybody in your organization done a study on that safety hazard?
We haven't done any kind of study, but we do have people that back their vehicles in currently in front of 2 and 400. So there's still light shining into Transit Road.
Question, is it a
Yeah.
matter of not having enough spaces or just not having the close by spaces? So would people, doesn't seem like you'd be getting additional cars unless, of course, you're getting the maximum number of tenants. And so I guess I'm just wondering, is it a matter of, are you running out of spaces or is it just a convenience?
It's an inconvenience for the residents of 2 and 400 that's
Mhm.
causing a hardship for us,
Mhm.
basically.
And how many spaces?
35.
35.
Yeah, 35 additional spaces.
Can we do, can you take it back and just try to do something else with it?
Well, we tried to rework it as much as possible to not be here tonight. I can assure you that, right? So when we looked at the plan and we came to the conclusion that parking was a problem in front of building 200 and 400, we tried every possible thing so we didn't have to approach everybody here tonight and try and get a variance, right? So we were thinking that we could come through and add additional parking spots here, right? Carve this out, additional parking, carve that out, carve that out. But the issue is that's where NICEAG set the transformer fence. So that's pretty much out. We were also looking to add spaces here, right? We can add some spaces here, but it turns out the grading is an issue in that spot. And really, we came back to the cleanest, best way to do it, in our opinion, was to approach everybody tonight and try and get the variance for the additional parking up front there.
How are you going to put these parking places in? Are you going into the green space? So there'll be less green space now?
It's going to be going into the grass area.
Well, that's the green space. Okay, how far in? 19 feet or so?
Whatever standard parking spaces.
Well, so there won't be any
These are listed at 19 feet.
19 feet, right?
Whatever, yeah.
And
It's just
these
gonna
are
be-
listed at 19. These parking spots are listed as 19 feet with, from your current grading for that first strip of parking spaces building to the additional ones. Another 19 feet with a total of 26 feet. No. 26 feet between the two parking spots. So you're talking about, it's still 2 lane, it's still half to pass through. That's tight.
I understand. Yeah. It could be tight. I mean, whatever's there, it was, as far as the drive lanes, it's a standard two-way, whatever that is, through a property. And that's with
Like
any,
you got 26 feet now, right?
yeah, but
Yes, I'm
if you
fine.
would go,
From the end of the line.
Right.
From the end of the line of one spot to the end of the line of the other
If
spot.
you look closely, you can see it. Yeah.
Right.
but I guess what I'm trying to say is if we would have included this on the original site plan, this wouldn't, the drive lane wouldn't have been any wider. It would still be the same size. Yeah.
Garages are those. It says, between 400 and 200, there's four garages.
These garages here, sir?
Yes.
Those
No.
are attached to the building.
No. Yeah.
No, the ones on the, yeah, okay. I'm looking at it a different way. It's 4 of them, right? 4 sets.
Correct. There's 6 garages. on-
Each.
Yes, this is 6 garages, and same thing on 200.
And they go to,
They just go into the building, so they're specific tied to a unit. If you live in the building, you have the option to rent one of those.
are all of them rented?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
especially in 2 and 4, especially in building 2 and
4.
400. Yes.
Yes, and I have a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do we have any other input from anybody? From the audience?
Is there anybody else in the audience that wishes to comment on this project?
We have a recommendation from the building department that they should go back to the planning board for revisit the site. Go back to the planning board, explain to them what you want to do, because this was not included in your first site plan, correct? You said that earlier.
That's
So now
correct.
we'll
It
go
would be,
back
an-
and
it would be an addition.
revisit the site plan, because I don't want to, hate to deny it on you right off the bat. but-
Yeah,
Because they may have some suggestions in the meantime. Maybe you guys can come up with some other ideas and work on that.
Buy that,
Anybody else?
buy that auto plates next door there and you can spread it out.
we wish we could.
The whole
We
site,
wish
huh?
we could, yeah. Yeah, so that would mean that I would have to get site plan approval then. We would have to reapply for site plan approval.
That's a recommendation that we got from the building department.
Okay,
And Justin, we need to make that part of the record also.
Yes. So. We can.
Can
I think,
table it.
we table it upon a recommendation from the planning board.
Yeah, and then we can.
On a review.
With some other ideas.
yeah, why don't we, if we're not gonna get granted the variance tonight,
Correct.
why don't we table it and I'll come back next month?
But we want to make
What
sure.
we want to
the
hear
planning-
from the planning
Yeah,
board.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll get with them.
Correct.
And I'll speak with them and see what we have to do to
Like,
get the
get back
recommendation,
together
to
with-
get them to support it.
Whoever you're dealing with in the building department, because
Sure.
we've had this discussion.
When you rented these apartments, first of all,
Yes,
how many parking spaces per unit did you guarantee?
I believe it's 2.5. I think it's 2.5 spots. But it goes between the 1 bedrooms to the 3 bedrooms, so it's a little,
I don't believe there was ever, with the, in the first site plan, I think you had enough to begin with.
oh, we have the required amount of parking.
Correct.
Yeah, yes.
Because you go into Washington, you go to other places. They don't guarantee that.
Yes,
Accommodate your relatives and
right. Yep.
I just
What-
don't like the taking away from the green space because that's gonna look horrible. It's gonna look like all concrete and cars. That's what it's gonna look like.
I understand, but I can assure you that as we start to, right now, we're getting through phase 2 of the project. We're supposed to take delivery of that building actually April 1st, this first one in phase 2 here,
Yeah,
right? So we're creating all this green space behind the building, all that additional green space behind this building. And then we get into the walking trail back there,
yeah.
which of course is protected wetland, right? We can never impact that. So the property is starting to look, especially getting into the summer and spring, it's gonna start to look really, really beautiful.
Well, but there was another spot which you guys sold to a car dealer, so you could have spread it out a little bit. You could have,
Oh,
whoever did this design could have thought of this stuff like this too. Just
yeah,
give them the message, that's all.
sure.
Well, and when we approved this going way back, there was issues of buildings being very close together. I remember
Correct.
when we had to move, we asked for some buildings to be separated a little bit so that it was more,
If I remember correctly, they did everything we had asked them to. Yeah.
Correct.
is there?
I'll make them. And with the stipulation that they get a revised site plan as a recommendation from the building department.
So can I interject quick?
Of course.
What would we like to see? I guess, what would make this,
More green space and less
Okay.
cars, but that's not gonna happen, so they've got to do some thinking.
Do you need the 35 cars? Maybe cut that
That's
down.
not that
Okay.
much.
I don't know. I'm just throwing that out
Sure.
there.
Yep, okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of had the same thought, like maybe instead of just a long row of spot after spot, that if the desire is to have the front, be more attractive with landscaping, that maybe there's a couple of
Islands.
islands or
Yes,
even green
islands, yeah.
spots, with some nice curb appeal.
Yeah.
And to kind of soften the front, because I agree, if it looks like it's like a car lot, like a, used car lot or something right up to
Sure.
the sidewalk practically, that might be too much, but it looks like, is there 6 feet of space between the parking lot space and then where the sidewalk begins?
yes,
Perhaps that's another place. I don't know if landscaping of even just smaller shrubs, not like something that would overhang over cars and,
Mhm.
cause, issues for the cars, but
okay,
I don't know if that's, just a thought that
Yeah.
might soften the, the curb appeal and kind of create some visual separation
sure.
between the lot and then where people are using the street.
Part of the planning's
That's a
part.
plan.
Yeah.
Got it.
You
Okay.
should call them.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I just,
No, but I'm just curious what
Well,
you.
we want to have a dialogue.
Yeah, for sure.
And then revised site plan, okay.
And the rec
So
has
more
for,
space between parking, just like she mentioned.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's see what happens.
Okay, so we have a motion from Mr. Kenny on the table with the addition that it goes back to the planning board for additional site review.
I'll second that.
The motion by Mr. Kenyon, second by Mr. Ralph Miranda. On the motion, Mr. Miranda,
Aye.
Ms. Workchop,
I,
Mr. Kenyon, Ms. Hall.
Okay, thank you for your time tonight.
I have one question.
Sure.
What other properties do you own or manage in the area? I think you have a few, right?
We do, yeah, so we have town center apartments
On Transit.
on Transit,
You have
that's
the
40,
ones on, Center Road.
correct?
Plaza, too.
Yes, sir. Yep, so we have Park Lane Villas on Union, that's the one that's right by the South Gate. Park Lane Villas North, which is the one on Center. And then 4800 Transit Road, that's in Cheektowaga. So
I'm sure you got a lot of nice greenery in those spots. Maybe you can do something here.
I'll certainly take a peek at it and figure something out.
the other side of French Road, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, they're all.
Yeah.
And that's yours also.
Yes,
Okay, good luck.
thank you for your time.
Well, thank you. Our next item is Nagak Kim Nguyen, 35 Ruth Drive. Mr. Kenny Young is going to read your request. If you could step up to the podium.
The applicant at 35 Roof Drive proposes a garage conversion into a kitchen in which now the resident will be parking in front of the principal dwelling, whereas zoning law does not permit it. You have the floor.
What did you say?
So if you could just tell us what you're asking for your project.
We just build the kitchen and the garage. That's all.
Are you running a business out of the kitchen in the garage?
No.
So what was the purpose of putting a kitchen in the
Because
garage?
we got more kids. We usually got only one. We lived there 20 years already, and usually we got only one kid. And then now we got 3 kids, and then we get run out of the room, and then I just moved the kitchen out to the garage.
Okay.
For the little boy to run around in the house.
So what happened to the kitchen that you had? What are you using that space for?
Because that's space I'm open for the living room, and then I move the kitchen out to the garage.
Do you have any pictures?
I don't.
We have the ones,
Do we have any?
do you have the pictures from the agenda?
But I don't have any.
Otherwise, we could get any. Unless you get
I
something.
mean,
So when Mr. Miranda visited the property, you already have the garage sealed off
Yes.
and you already did the kitchen.
and you are parking in front of there. Okay, now, where else could you park? You have 2 items there. I don't know exactly what you call them,
I got,
that are taking up a lot of space. What, can you put them away somewhere else?
I got 2 jet ski over there. That's all I got. I got 2 jet ski in there.
Jet skis,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But if you would have room for parking then, but right now you don't have parking room at all, and you can't park right in front of.
Right
the
now,
door.
I still got the parking because
Can you come up? Take a look at this.
the garage go right in the parking right there.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's where you want, there's your
Yeah,
kitchen,
yeah,
right?
that's right.
You got parking here and you got parking there.
Uh-huh.
So you really don't need parking here.
Usually we don't park over
Okay,
there.
all right. So he doesn't park there now in
No.
front of the kitchen.
Yeah, if sometimes I know.
Well, I was there, so I can't tell you.
I
'cause
open
I
this
was there.
one for my little boy to run around
Sure,
there.
okay.
And I got the zip line right there.
I know I mean, it's the way it's laid out. I mean, it's all across, but not deep. And you have a storage area with a lot of other toys in there with wagons and everything else. I mean,
And what about the violations you had in the past with the bobcats and the garbage and parking trucks and junk trucks and property maintenance?
They tell me remove everything. I've already removed everything away. They said.
not really. I was there just yesterday.
Your fence is still
Oh,
down.
the bobcat, because I tell her, can I keep there for the winter? She said, yes, but long as they inside the pen.
You're inside the fenced area, which is
And the fence is broken so that people can see it.
Yeah, I moved everything out yesterday already.
concrete in front of it.
Then I have these as the violations. We can add that to the
I
record.
did not see the violation, so. Okay, this is for the record.
You asked for a permit for all that concrete? Concrete all over the place.
You said the concrete right to the jet ski?
Yeah.
The common they do it for me. I don't know, they got the.
What about in
license.
front of the house where the kitchen is?
The kitchen they tag with the house. The,
It's all-
the kitchen inside, usually the house they tag with the garage. They all together. They all on one.
So the kitchen was the garage. The garage and then it was the garage and you made the garage into the kitchen, correct?
Yes.
You have a permit for that?
I don't got the permission. for that.
There's all kinds of violations about the permits. He must have them now.
Because I
Show that to
do,
Kenny, maybe.
I'm not do that one day. I do that for 4 years already. I just ask a little bit by little bit every day. You know,
Kenny, I thought on the concrete, the additional concrete, it didn't encroach on anything for needing permits or variances or anything. That was my take when I looked, because that was one of the questions I
I
had.
mean, it could have been neater. You have a lot of, pots there, big, gallon or 2 gallon pots laying on the front. That's not even in question. Chairs there, everything kind of messy.
Yeah, I will move that away yesterday I started to lean everything away already. I just moved the bobcat, everything away already. And now I start to moving stuff away.
And I thought at first, that you could do something with the parking in front of your bay there, but that's raised up there too, so I don't know, it's more like a porch, I guess.
I don't have any more questions.
Is there any other questions from the board?
How many vehicles do you have on?
We got three.
How many?
Three.
Three? Okay. Plus the watercrafts.
Usually they just stay there on the winter, the summer they're not there.
And where do you drive those things that are stored around the neighborhood too?
No, I'm putting the water.
No, the skidoos.
Bobcats? What you talking about?
Where are you gonna put that?
The bobcats,
No.
Skidoos. Watercrafts.
the summertime I keep them in the water.
Well, yeah, but in the summer, but right now you got them in your driveway.
Yeah, right now I got out in my driveway.
Anybody else in the audience that wishes to comment on this project? Is there a motion?
What do we do? If we don't, I mean, it's already a violation, so now what?
Make a motion to deny it.
Well, but what's,
Then he just can't park on it, that's all. That's all.
well, can't park in front of the
The kitchen,
area,
correct,
right? Well,
front of the house. So I'll make a motion to deny the variance as requested.
I'll second that.
That'll be up to the code people, as far as I'm concerned. Got another thought on the question? Got another thought, Justin?
Is there any question?
Their purpose is, their request for the variance is to park in front of the dwelling. And so the issue is, if we allow that, it's the parking in front of the dwelling.
So it's another
Not the kitchen.
violation. like that's it,
Right. Once we,
And how about?
Oh, no, that's the old Richard. We just do more parking lot over there, up there. That's the old one. We just got, about 10 more foot last year, the concrete. We got project right there. Yeah. Right there. Right here. Right here, we got this second right here, it's all concrete there.
So did you get a permit to put that driveway in that extension to your property line? Where
Probably not to the property line.
probably not.
That's what I was talking to Kenny about.
I know, right,
It really wouldn't need anything, right?
right. Which, based on this, there's definitely more than 5 feet. Even with 10 feet, there's more than 5 feet.
Yeah, there's not an issue with those
No.
driveways. It's just the one in front of it.
It's in front of the dwelling.
What do they call them, water things?
You do.
Got a motion in a second. What's your pleasure?
Well,
The motion.
the motion is to
To deny.
deny.
What if he took those
Okay.
to-dos out?
Jane second.
Yeah,
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Miranda, seconded by Mrs. Werchuck to deny the variance request to park in front of the dwelling, which is in front of the former garage kitchen. Which basically means you, however we vote and decide tonight, you cannot park in front of the kitchen, what was the garage. Otherwise, that's a violation. On the motion, Mr. Miranda,
Aye.
Ms. Werchuck,
Aye.
Mr. Kenny Young,
Aye.
Ms. Alt, and I'll vote aye. So your request to park in front of the garage, which is now the kitchen, is denied because it's part of the house. You cannot park in front of the principal dwelling, which is now the entire garage, is now the kitchen. There cannot be any cars there.
Mhm.
You can,
Anytime,
huh?
anytime.
Correct.
Okay.
And you'll get a letter from the town in 7 to 14 days
Okay.
explaining our decision. Okay? Our next item is Jeffrey Ruggiero, 95 Hemingway Road. You can step up to the podium. Mr. Kenny Young's gonna read your request.
The applicant proposes placement of a heat pump, which is the main source of heat for the dwelling at 95 Hemingway Road, of which its placement is within the 5-foot buffer of the property line. Whereas local law requires the unit placement to be a minimum of 5 feet from the property line. You have the floor.
I guess I'll first note, as you can see from the photos, the heat pump's already been installed. A Salino Plumbing, a reputable contractor, was hired to do the work as they converted my house from a, gas furnace to a new electric heat pump. And based on what they were looking at when they were making the installation, my driveway is directly on the left side of the house, for the rear of the house, just because of the other utilities in the area. I have a standby generator back there, as well as electric going out to a hot tub, as well as a gas line going to the rear of my yard for a in-ground pool that's being installed. So they felt that that was the only adequate place that it could be installed safely. I can't answer why they didn't inquire about a variance before they installed it. I didn't know that, personally, I didn't know the rules until after the fact.
How deep did they have to go with the drilling down before they installed the heat pump?
There's no drilling for this, so it's electric heat pump. It operates as like a air conditioner, just in reverse.
Yeah, I know what they are. But it's basically for heat and air?
Correct.
It is, okay. I just thought that it would have to go deep but as long as it's your driveway, it's along.
No, that is
That's
that is the neighbor's driveway. My
That's
driveway's on the
neighbor's
opposite side of the house.
driveway.
So that was the challenge. They couldn't put it on the, like I said, be the east side of the house because that would be, it's all concrete driveway right to the side of my house.
Would you say it's about 1.5 feet from their driveway?
Yeah, I believe it is
And
5
where's
feet
the-
from,
Where's the property line? Your fence back there, is that the property line?
it is 5 feet off the edge of the house.
Not a lot of room in those.
No, sir.
And question two there is about the noise from that unit. I don't know whether you've used it or not.
Yeah, I mean, we've had it installed since August. So it ran in
Okay.
the warm months and in
Did
the
they
winter.
give you a decibel level of what the noise is?
I'm sure it's published documentation. I'd have to look it up.
And you're aware you can't infringe upon the neighbor's ears. So
Correct.
it can't be loud, it can't be that
Yeah,
loud when it's running.
I mean, it's no louder than an air conditioner that runs.
Okay.
I know.
I don't know what the actual decibel is.
I know we refused one in South Chickawaga because it basically was similar to this. But it's already installed.
Unfortunately, yes.
What is the stand that it's on? Because it seems kind of odd that like the stand comes out farther and then, but the unit is more slim.
So
Like, why is it designed that way
I,
or set up that
the
way?
size is going to be so it doesn't tilt and tip over. But it's also lifted off the ground like that. So you don't get, because in the winter, you can't have the snow packing up the lower part of the coils, whereas your air conditioner can sit on the ground because it's it uses the summer months. But because this is for the heat, it needs to be above the average snow line.
Do you have a picture of it finished?
That is of it finished.
That is it.
Yes.
And as you and I spoke about the snow plowing from that driveway, you're aware that you're pretty close to their
Yeah.
Yes,
their
sir.
neighbors plowing. There's always an issue with that too.
Off of my house, it's 10 to 12 inches. And then it's probably 18 inches wide. Maybe it may even be a little bit closer to my house.
So why couldn't they put a bracket on your house and put that on?
I think the back has to
I think you need some airflow, but yeah,
Okay, but you can still have it away from the house with a bracket.
I don't know that the manufacturer offers that as a approved installation method.
Find that stand that it's on kind of odd looking. Like it doesn't, like that's what's encroaching, not more than the unit,
Right.
which is flatter. I don't know. It just
I mean-
kind of looks odd, like it's sitting on a piece of lawn furniture or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like it just has an odd look to it.
it's the
It's-
first time
it's
I've
something
seen
that-
one like it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with how others are set up, but it just looks kind of odd, like you put it out on a lawn chair or something, just
Yeah.
at least from this photo, it kind of has
That-
like an unfinished look, or that it's the base really that's wider than the unit.
Right.
So I don't know.
The base is certainly wider than the unit.
I mean, is that something you spoke with them about? I mean, about that?
It's kind of
how
like
that
this is what
base-
it's a Mitsubishi unit, so it's just the Mitsubishi
come-
stand and the
So
condenser.
they come together like that
I believe so.
stand and the unit are designed to be one as part of the same package.
To the best of my knowledge,
Mhm.
I mean, I could reach out to Celino if you want me to follow up on a different base.
Well, that was one thing, Mr. Young and I were talking about is, again, like Ms. Alt, that the concern is with it being as close to your neighbor's driveway, that why it couldn't have been mounted to the house to be more secure. My next question is, so this is all electric.
Correct.
I had to do my own research on what a heat pump is. I don't know. Okay. Mr. Young knows more about it than I do, but it's all electric.
Yes.
There's no gas lines attached to it.
Nope.
There's no, so my thing is the safety hazard. If I'm your neighbor, whether it's your current neighbor or a neighbor 5 years from now or 10 years from now, and I pull in the driveway and my car slips on ice and I hit it.
Mhm.
I'm breaking an electrical line, not a gas line.
Not a gas line.
We're not creating a fire hazard short of, now is this 220, I would assume?
It is. It'll trip the,
It'll
I think
trip.
it's a 30 amp breaker it's fed off of. It'll trip the breaker in
It'll
my
trip
panel.
if it's damaged.
Yep. So you're better off hitting that than the main power meter at the side of a house. Like, there's no overcurrent protection on a
Right,
power
gas
meter
meter.
or a gas meter.
Okay, is there any other questions from the board?
We did, like I said, we did turn one down in South Chickawaga. I don't know if you were on the board.
Yeah, that was
And-
a long
and-
time ago.
But that was even a larger area. But it depended what kind of, maybe that was the heat pump was out of gas or something. But this one here, is out of electric.
Yes.
Never seen that.
Yes, sir.
Oh, this is, yeah. Yeah. Was this type of solution looked at?
You didn't present anything.
Mhm.
I don't know because it's a light, but that is an issue with trying to get the tracker to support it.
Mhm.
Again, I'd be willing to. Yeah, you have to.
I mean, at this point,
That's not up against the building though, is it?
no, it's,
No,
there's-
there's some space. There's a little space behind this one.
so, I mean, just to the board, until we find out if there's anyone else in the audience that wishes to comment, I would be interested in tabling this for further research. If we could come up with a solution to get it off that stand and have it mounted to the house.
Okay.
And, see if that's an option.
Absolutely.
And revisit
Yeah.
it in a month, if you could do that, that'd be something I'd be interested in, I don't know. how
Absolutely.
everyone feels.
I'll kick up with some more documentation on what options exist for mounting. Maybe there's a different base. If they can't wall mount it, maybe there's a different ground base.
Jane, that thing you have?
Oh, yep, I just pulled up a different, I mean, here's a different one.
Yeah, there's other applications.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where you still get the airflow, which I understand, I'm not an engineer, but I get, you want the airflow coming through either side.
Mhm.
I don't have a problem with it myself,
Right.
just so he doesn't have a problem at some point in time. It's a safety precaution.
Right.
Right.
You might want to.
Yeah.
At some point.
Well, that's the other thing.
Now you can cut grass. You get something like that. Otherwise, somebody's hitting it.
Gonna be trimming it basically with a weed whacker.
You know,
I mean,
so it's
I don't know your neighbors, I'm just thinking I have little kids. Kids throwing a bike, a skateboard, anything where they're in their driveway, they're on their property.
Right.
And again, you have your current neighbors, but they could be not your neighbors in 30 days.
they may not be accommodating next time.
Right, right. So, is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to comment on the project? Please just step up to the microphone, state your name and address, please.
My name is Alice Pellegrin. I live at 87 Hemingway. That's my driveway you're looking at.
Okay, so you live in the greenhouse.
Correct.
Okay,
My husband died 8 months ago. Okay, so this is not my forte. I do know that is too close to my property. I have no problem with the table or whatever you want to call it, stand that it's sitting on being reduced in size and moved back. This winter, the snow was an issue. My other issue is the fire escape that was put in. That's also too close to my property. And I love my neighbors, okay? I love Jeff, okay? I don't want to cause a problem. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay in my house. And if I sell it, is this going to be a problem?
It's the newest thing out, really. It
I
really
get
is.
that, and I'm happy for them that they were able to do this. But in the same token, I have to look out for my own interest and my own safety. I had to have somebody come in twice this winter with a plow
Mhm.
because I wasn't able to keep up with it with the snow blower. And what if he would have damaged that? These are my concerns. I'm not trying to make his life miserable. I'd be happy to give him the variance. But in the same token, I want to protect myself down the road.
Absolutely. So I think that's why
We want to study it.
we wanna have him, Jeff, see if there's a little better installation solution that can be remedied. By hopefully maybe mounting it to the house. But we can't tell him to do that.
Right.
He's got to come back to us with the same variance, asking for it, or if potentially, if it's not impeding by the measurements, which it probably will, still, under the same request, he's asking for 5 feet from relief from the 5 feet from the property line. But it would be off the stand. It would maybe be more elevated. It would be attached to the house instead of on that stand. And we have a lot of options that.
I'm not blaming him.
No,
I do blame the company that put it in. Because I asked when this all started, if he was within his property line, and he told me that he was told he was.
And unfortunately, we have heard this a lot of times, whether it's a reputable company or somebody who's just a contractor that is unlicensed or whatever, that they unfortunately tell the homeowner, no, you don't need to call the town, you don't need to do this. We've run into this a million times over air conditioners and driveways, and now this, generators, the gas, what do you call them? No, the automatic natural gas generators. Yeah. So we've run into this situation where the contractor just says, no, yeah, we'll just do it and the job's done, and it works, and it does work. So I think that's where we're headed, is to table it just to see if we can come up with a better situation.
I personally would like a couple ballards over there, so you wouldn't have to worry about anybody hitting that.
No room for balance.
I know that, that's the whole
There's
trouble.
not even
So
5 feet between the property, and we have to take that into
That's it.
consideration.
I know.
And,
Well-
but does it make any noise that you
No.
are aware of? No. Well,
And,
that's
and
good.
personally, I don't
Right.
care about the noise because I have central air. My windows are very seldom open.
Well, that's good.
So the noise, it's like he said, an air conditioner running
Right,
that you would have in your window. you know.
Right.
One of the things I'm looking at is you're gonna get it studied. Maybe they could get it up higher. If they can't get it closer to your house and higher. That may help a little bit with the snow and those issues.
Okay.
But we hear you.
yeah.
Thank
very
you.
much. I will make a motion to table. Second. So.
For more study, right?
Yep.
Study to get some information from Selena on their other
Correct.
options.
And what is the name of that, the brand he put up?
It's a Mitsubishi.
Oh, okay.
On the motion, Mr. Miranda,
Aye.
Ms. Warchuck,
I,
Mr. Kenny Young,
Aye.
Ms. Alt.
Hi.
So the table till next month.
What was the date of the meeting?
Date was April 16th. So we'll readdress this. You won't get a notice in the mail for next month?
Show up April
Yeah,
16th.
on the 16th at 7, same.
Okay. I work in a tax office. I'll try to be here. I
Okay.
can't.
Oh,
You know what? April 16th is.
well,
All
right.
What your statements were.
yes, thank you very much. Our next item is David Piercy, JD2 Environmental for Hertz Realty Corporation, 4193 Genesee Street.
The applicant, JD2 Environmental, on behalf of Hertz Realty Corporation at 4193 Genesee Street, proposes the installation of a 6,000 gallon above ground fuel storage tank, whereas zoning law only allows for below ground storage tanks. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much. This is something that's been, if you go across the country and everywhere, that they're changing from underground storage tanks where they have the possibility for private fueling. So you won't see this at a local gas station because you don't have the space to do this type of thing. But on a private fueling facility, municipalities, rental car companies, trucking companies, we see this is something we see all across the country. It's part of the International Fire Code. It's part of the New York State Fire Code as being allowed. In the provisions of what we're asking for here, this is what they call a 2085 fire rated tank. It has all the things in place to protect it from impact, shooting it, any type of leaks. It's double wall.
Well, the double wall is a secondary containment.
Is secondary containment, yes. Yeah, so it's monitored as an interstitial space where it's monitored. And for these types of facilities, we do electronic monitoring, so it's continuously monitored.
Well, why aren't you replacing it with above ground? I mean, I know you have another one, but you mentioned a lot about water, the water table.
You got a high water table there. I actually looked today, the water's a foot below ground when I opened up the well today.
I mean, but how do we know that there is no gas in there or escaping?
From the tank that's there now?
Yeah.
It's a double wall tank that's monitored continuously. It has the same type of things. It's just underground where we can't see it, but where we have the space available.
But when was the last time you had it inspected by the DEC?
DEC comes around within usually every 5 years.
Every 5 years.
I mean,
right?
it has to be inspected every month by
Right.
an inspector, which it is. It's monthly inspection.
But
and then-
that one, do you have anything from the DEC that it's all right?
I have annual testing records. If we follow all the requirements,
you-
it's tested annually. But it's also, like I said, it's tested continuously because it's a dry interstitial space where there's a sensor inside that space. If there's any liquid there, you get an alarm and they remote monitor it. It's actually,
And what is the name of the tank you're putting in? I read all the stuff and I know you gave us a lot of information, thankfully. But I just wondered about what that tank is made of. Is it steel?
yeah, so it's what you have is I should have brought a picture. I just saw one that was taken apart, but it's
Yeah.
usually a 1/4 inch steel, 3 to 6 inches of lightweight concrete, then another layer of steel. And then you're inside the primary tank.
Okay.
Is there any monitoring on the outside, like cameras?
Well, actually, the site has cameras because they have rent-a-cars, which get stolen all the time. So they do have a lot of cameras. It is a fenced-in property. And that's part of also the requirements of the fire code, that it is being in a fenced-in area. So that type of thing's in place.
So you can see on the other side of that, you see somebody working over there.
Yeah, but you really wouldn't, you would take a lot to do something to get into that tank. Because it's, like I said, it's 1/4 inch thick steel, then 3 to 6 inches of concrete, then another layer of steel. So it's not something that's gonna, like I said, you can't even, a ballistic bullet will not even go through that tank system.
Can we go up to the site plan there? I have questions at where it's gonna be placed.
It's just the site plan's a concept. We have a lot of ideas of where we could put it, depending on if it was allowed.
Okay, so the one that's there isn't what you're doing then? Because I had a question.
It could
where
be,
You're putting the tank right next to the pumps.
right.
What's the code for that?
I could actually have the pumps attached right to the tank if I wanted to.
See, this is all new.
Yeah, I know,
we have
it's-
nothing in this town.
I know,
to cover those
and
rules.
I understand that. The code requirements, like a dispenser normally can be up actually against a building. It just can't be near an opening of a building. That's the rules on dispensing. For that actual tank, that fire rated tank is rated, actually can be placed within 5 feet from a building.
5 feet.
Yeah.
What law, where does that come under? What code?
That's still NFPA 30A.
Okay. What
30
about
and international
DEC
fire.
and environmental codes?
DEC is the rules of what you have to do monthly, annually, testing wise.
Not placement.
They reference all the industry codes, which this does
Now,
follow.
did you speak with the fire chief in this area?
I did not speak with the fire chief, no.
Fire code from the.
Yeah, the fire chief, well, you know, yeah, whoever it is, okay.
Have any fire suppression system?
Actually, the canopy has fire suppression on it. Yes. Yeah, the cylinder's all up. If you look at the underneath, there's just nozzles all throughout that whole canopy column.
Well, there seems to be a little problem though with the way it was written
Well, we have,
with the use.
yeah,
variance.
here's what we have from the building department. They're recommending that you get a special use permit from the
Okay.
town board. Because everything's supposed to be underground.
Right.
We have no idea where all these rules and regulations are. I worked with ExxonMobil for over 20 years. So I'm real familiar with all this,
Yeah.
not above ground.
No, a lot of
And
the turnpike.
my reading, I see that's where everyone's going to at
Yeah.
this point. But our town is not prepared. It's safety hazards. What kind of liability would the town have if we were just to give you a variance? Something went wrong. We're not elected officials here. So the department is recommending that you go to the town board and get a special use permit.
Okay, because that's what I asked originally when I was going to file this, if I should be doing a variance or a special.
They asked me.
Yeah. I wish.
I'm not
No,
an expert. We got the recommendation, we made the calls, we got the recommendation.
And that was from
The building and plumbing department.
building and
I
plumbing.
got a letter from Dan Young, he's the planner, Rick Coburn's the chief, what is he, Eric? Okay. And who was working this case? No, I mean, who originally met with this gentleman? Okay. All right. Yeah, I make a motion. Well, either we got any other questions or the audience? What do we?
Is there any other questions from the board? Is there any questions from the audience?
Jay, just a question overall. It's
Mhm.
this concept that I'm showing of being able to do this is something, if I go through the special permit, is this something that you guys would, be more, if they approved, would be more comfortable with?
They're the bosses. We.
Here's something, here's the questions we were interested in. The fire chief wasn't involved.
Okay,
You probably didn't talk to the town engineer. The law department, I don't know if they looked at it. I mean, and then it comes down to, does the town have, if we were to give you a variance,
Mhm.
something went wrong, what kind of liability would the town have?
right.
I mean, it would be horrendous,
Yeah, it's
because there are no laws on the books in our town.
Yeah, it's just that the state fire code
I understand.
allows it. It's just that your town, for some whatever reason, when they wrote that
Mhm.
regulation, they,
What Mr. Miranda's getting at is, we don't make those laws.
right. No, I
And they
understand.
need to get up to date, they need to get updated at this point.
Right, and because that's,
We just make our recommendation or our decision based on their laws. We don't make the laws, they
Right.
do.
no,
So, and there is no law for us to make a decision on right now.
okay. Well, you've given me a path to follow, so that's fine. We can go that route and see.
This will go directly back to the town and they'll schedule this.
It's on their radar, because I was on the phone with them 3 or 4
Okay.
times this week.
Okay,
We're all on the phone with them.
perfect. All right, appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank
good
you.
luck. And you are David,
Well,
right?
let's table
From the
Dave,
environmental?
I go by
Okay.
either
We
or.
didn't make the motion yet, so we will.
Okay, motion.
No, we don't want to deny it. Let's just make a motion. Make a motion let's table it with the recommendation from the planning board, or do you want them
But I don't think we can put a condition on the table.
to? Okay.
No, we just are tabling
Let's
it.
make a motion table for further study then.
So I have a motion by is there anybody else in the audience that wishes to comment on this project? I have a motion from Mr. Miranda to table for more information, seconded by Mr. Kenny Young. On the motion, Mr. Miranda.
Aye.
Ms. Workshop.
Aye.
Mr. Kenny Young. Ms. All.
Hi.
I vote aye.
All right, thank you very much.
We will hopefully to say.
Probably won't.
Maybe not, we might not have to.
Our next item is Andrew Rack, Michelle Serafini, 3529 Broadway. Mr. Kenny Young will read your request.
Hey, the applicant, Andrew Rack,
R-A-K.
on behalf of Michelle Serafini for partial 3529 Broadway, Cheektowaga, New York, 14227, proposes an above-ground fuel storage tank to be, it's the same one.
Nope, it's the same.
It's the same thing, right? To replace the existing underground tank on site, whereas the local law requires the storage tank to be placed underground. You have the floor.
What's the size of the tank?
It's a 10,000 gallon tank. That's what we
10,000.
currently have. Our underground tank is 10,000 gallons. And we're looking to replace that with an above ground tank, kind of in similar fashion to the last gentleman. It's a truck, a trucking business. They've been there for over 80 years now. The issue is that the underground tanks right now, due to the age of it, if there's any potential leaks or anything, it gets tested very similar on a monthly basis. DEC was there
When?
the other day. Yep.
So it was just there, okay.
Yeah, so our current underground tank, it's expiring
Right.
next month, the first of the month. So that's why I wanted to
Andrew, I couldn't see them where is it on your property? I couldn't see the markings.
so
The
you actually
underground
want to
tank.
pull up Google Maps. I could show you how you had it last time. It's 3529 Broadway.
Yeah, I looked through the markings and I didn't see it.
I saw it on the pictures of it, but you're putting it exactly where the other.
I'm looking for the underground.
So if you zoom in to the right, see the island that's currently there? That's
Your pumps.
That's currently the fuel pumps are there.
Okay.
So the actual tank is right underneath that.
Oh, it is. And where do you fill it? Where's the
There
fill?
are two areas. All
right, I missed them. Okay. All right.
Yeah, so,
And now, if we go back, Eric, to the picture you just had, because I want to ask where's the tank gonna be?
just in that general area.
Right
so-
where the pumps are.
Yep, so through the DEC in New York State, from the property line, from edge of tank to the property line has to be a minimum of 15 feet from the property line.
And you're right at 15 feet.
The new tank or old tank?
The new one, I'm talking about the new one.
Yeah, so that's, per the DEC in New York State, that's the closest we can get to the
And
property.
how
line.
about from 25 feet from the building?
So depending on the size of the tank, it varies on the size, anything under 10,000
So all
gallons
the
or
rules
less.
and laws that aren't part of our code are apply to you.
Yeah,
guys.
New York State, yeah. So,
So with this, your current setup, because I was back there. and
yeah,
You have a very narrow driveway and you have trucks coming in and out to refill at that same location
correct.
with the new installation.
Yeah, there's two drive lanes currently there.
Correct.
Yep,
So, but right now the tank is underground. You're
correct.
just dealing with trucks coming through in two lanes,
So,
just refilling. Now we're gonna add a tank
yep,
to take up space above ground.
correct.
So what's that going to do to the drivability with these large trucks coming in and out?
So we have,
Rules covering that too,
what's that?
the distance covering that.
So, yeah, so we're not
Okay.
changing anything with the pavement or anything like that. Like you said, there are two drive lanes right now. We do have other access in front of the building, which is a driveway also to get into the back area of the property.
Yeah, we're familiar with you guys. We've been
Yeah.
here numerous times. So,
Yeah, so our option, we had a couple options, because the placement of the tank, anywhere else on the property, we have a scale on the south side of the property, overhead garages. So we figured with the best location, since that's where the other tank currently is. So, an option is to keep it as one drive lane and just push it over closer to the building is an option. But that's just kind of our general thought on where to put it.
I mean, with the size of the trucks that you have coming in and out of there.
It-
And especially with there being a daycare right next door.
And also the ice rink, that had problems too.
What's that?
The ice rink, I know they had a carbon monoxide problem. It wasn't
Oh.
outside, but at any time, if something is close on your property and it explodes, that could trigger that off too, where the whole darn place is gonna go.
So in similar fashion to the other gentleman, it's a double walled tank with emergency shutoffs. It's got a suppression system
Now,
inside.
his is only 6,000, yours is 10,000. I know there's difference, rules and regulations. as far
Correct.
as The tanks, so yours are gonna be higher. I would think.
Higher,
Rule wise, restriction wise.
I'm not following you.
Is there a break off from the amount of gallon tanks when you go from 6, 8, 10?
12,000 is the next
12,000.
increment. Yeah.
Right, and as you go up in those,
Mhm.
the volume, do the rules and regulations get stiffer?
I wouldn't say stiffer. There's just different guidelines on
Or
how
different
far off the
size
property
tanks,
line from the
That's
building.
what I was leading
Yeah.
to. Okay.
I mean, it's going to be it's a double wall containment fuel tank. It'll also have bollards at every
And
4 feet.
it'll hold the 10,000 gallons in the secondary containment?
10,000 gallons? Yeah, so, well, it's a double walled system. So it has the emergency shutoffs for leaks or anything like that. I mean, to hold 10,000 gallons inside the double wall system, that
Can't be.
right,
I
right.
don't think so.
But it has internal mechanics that would suppress anything.
Okay.
I talked with the DEC. DEC has been there. Joe from the fire department has also been
So
there.
you had the fire.
Yep, he came out, he directed me, basically whatever the New York State and the DEC guidelines are.
Mhm.
So that's what we're currently following based off of him,
Okay.
what he told us. And then also, I've been going back and forth with Dan Young.
Where are your emergency shutoffs located?
What's that?
Where are the emergency shutoffs? Where are they located?
So on the top of the tank, there's emergency shutoffs. It's not for someone to actually climb up there. It's all computerized. So in our shop, there would be a main computer that's able to notify us, but also it has the inner workings on the tank itself to do all of that.
So what if that fails? Is there a manual shut off anywhere on the property?
There are manual shutoffs that we can personally do by hand, yes, but emergency wise, it has all of that in the computer system and then on the tank itself.
Do they still put the buttons in, the emergency stop buttons?
I'd have to look at the spec. I don't know.
Okay,
what
that
kind.
was just a curious
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Noticed you did not have a letter from Michelle. It just references on behalf of Michelle Serafini,
Mhm.
but you really should have a letter that she
Okay.
is telling you to do that.
Yeah, I'm one of the engineers and project managers in the office, so.
That's up here, his name is up here with yours.
Okay, well, maybe on there.
Yeah, but a lot of the big thing is the underground tanks. As they get older, you don't know what actually happens to the tank underground.
Have you plan on taking those out?
Yes, yeah, we're in
So
the
you get
process of
this
doing that
approval,
right
you
now. The tank itself is inspected on a monthly basis, and then every 5 years it has to get recertified.
Sure.
Ours is due next month, so that's why, due to insurances, potential leaks, environmental issues, it's a lot safer to go above ground because you also have the visual inspection too on top of all of your emergencies.
You have that above ground. What do you have? You have a cap underneath it or something to catch?
For the new tank,
Yeah.
so it's going to be on a concrete slab. It's a 6-inch slab, and then at the pedestals of the tank, it's another 6 inches, so a foot. Then it has bollards around it and the tank itself. So it's just, like I said, the tank that we currently have is 40 years old, so that's why.
That's the special use permit.
Right, and yeah, I've been going back and, like I said, with Joe. Is it I can't pronounce his
Our
last name.
recommendation is from Dan out of the building.
Oh, okay.
Building department, so I
Right.
don't know we don't deal with the fire people.
Okay, yep.
I'm good, guys.
We're gonna.
Is there anybody else in the audience that wishes to comment on this project? Is there a motion?
Motion table for further study and direct the gentleman to get with Dan and looks like you two
I'll
guys are
second that.
ironing the way for the new town.
For the special use?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right from the town board. Make that,
Okay.
So then
I-
just,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, so with speaking with Dan Young then, is he gonna give us direction on?
You won't have to do anything, they'll just automatically go to the town board.
No,
For
you
us,
need to
but-
get- go to Dan.
Well, yeah, go to Dan.
And I'll tell you what to do. Get with it.
And like the previous gentleman, we don't have laws on the books we can make a judgment on.
Mhm.
We don't make the laws. So to get a special use for this type of thing, the town board has to make a decision
Okay,
on what they're going to allow in terms of these above ground tanks
Mhm.
at this quantity, where they want them, how they want them. They're gonna have to write the code.
okay,
We don't write the code, we just enforce the code or grant a variance to the code. And we don't have a code to go off of, other
okay,
than the tank should be underground.
All they give us is no above ground tanks.
Right,
right, okay,
under the code, under the current code,
sure,
and we can't. We can't change the code.
okay,
The town board changes the code.
okay,
So talk to Dan, as with the previous gentleman, and he can give you some guidance as to how to get to the town board to get it on their work session and their documents
okay,
for them to evaluate above ground fuel tanks.
okay,
Because as of right now, it's not within our code.
gotcha,
Maybe you can get together and both see Dan together. That might be a good idea.
The town board chooses to make a decision to change the code, and then both of you come back, or one of you come back, and we discuss how far it should be from a property line or to a building. That's kind of what we do.
okay,
We don't make the code.
okay.
Possibly. Yeah, come back.
Right, maybe not
When is their next meeting?
next week, but yeah, you have to talk to Dan
Okay,
and get and see,
okay,
have him work that
Sure.
angle.
okay,
So I will, we have a motion for Mr. Miranda to table
And I second it.
and seconded by Mrs. Warchak. On the motion, Mr. Miranda,
Aye.
Ms. Warchak,
Aye.
Mr. Kenny, Ms. Alt.
Hi.
Now go ahead.
all right, thank you.
Okay.
I can
Randy
just-
J. Walker Jr., 118 Nagle Drive, Mr. Kenny, will read your request. Mr. Randy J. Walker Jr., 118 Nagle Drive, present.
I don't see him, but we're his neighbors.
Okay, fair enough, thank you. We'll still read the request for the record.
You want to read the whole thing?
No, I don't, it's quite big.
But no, no.
Yeah, you're right, Heather, the last one, Ken, where he's asking for the 8
Capitalized.
inches.
Yeah, the last one, that's the 8 of it.
Property located at 118 Nagle Drive. Whereas the applicant Randy J. Walker Jr. of 118 Nagle Drive, Chickawaga, New York, 14225, is seeking to replace the flat work on their property, including the driveway, entryway, stoop, rear yard access walk, and a rear concrete patio with the driveway 8 inches from the northern property line. Whereas the zoning law requires a setback minimum of 5 feet from the property line.
I will recognize that Mr. Randy J. Walker Jr. of 118 Nagle Drive is not in attendance. Is there any question? Well, I guess we don't have questions from the board if he's not here. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to comment on this project?
Yeah.
Just if you could please step up to the microphone, just state your name and address for the record, please.
My name's Sandra Saransky of 112 Nagle Drive.
Sandra,
Yes.
Sandra.
Saransky, Ceranski.
And what was your address? I apologize.
112.
112 Nagel Drive.
I don't know if I look familiar to you, but we've been waiting for Mr. Walker to cut his driveway that you guys, voted for him to do a year and a half ago. And we're still waiting. He's had several violations, and he's scheduled to go to court in May. I don't even know why I'm here. We've already been this route.
Is this your nice fence up there? Is that his fence or your fence?
That's mine, yeah,
Nice fence.
oh, thank you. And, I have new photos you've seen them before. I don't know if you wanna.
Yep.
We got everything.
Okay, yeah. And, I don't know why he's doing what he's doing. I know his wife told us that they have no intentions of cutting the driveway, and that's what they want, and he's a spoiled little brat. He can't have his way. He's stamping his feet. I don't know. I don't get it.
Just bullheaded. That's all.
Yeah, he's very immature, very immature. Yeah, he's refusing. Down now refusing, huh?
So he's in court right now.
In May.
No, in May he goes.
Well, I mean.
Yeah, I guess I don't have to go. We're gonna be on vacation that week, so.
So he's been referred to court for the violation of the zoning board's our decision
Mhm.
to cut the driveway.
Yeah, it's been a year and a half, so.
It's supposed to be 2 feet from the property line.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So do we have to act on this variance or just ignore it? What do you suggest, Mr.
We
Chairman?
just turn it down. What else can we do?
I think at this point,
Can we even act on, or can we even act on something that's in litigation?
Because then
We-
what's gonna happen to her
We-
property?
we don't have the attorney present.
Yeah.
I mean, he's, technically, when he's in litigation for, he's asking for a different variance in litigation because that one was denied. So to tear that out, so 4 cases related to that.
If we grant it now, we contradict why he's in court.
This from you, so it's kind of.
I would just leave it.
Deny it, or just table it.
Well,
He's not here, what are we doing?
I say what we have done in the past, since I've been on board for however long. Situations like this, we have to.
Huh.
Does our original decision still stand?
Yes.
We still liable in court for
Still,
those
yes.
who would be
Why would it be tabled and not be denied? I mean,
I see no reason why we can't deny it. Because he's still in court, it's not gonna hurt this at all.
I have to keep taking time off work to come to these meetings.
Well, and we understand and we appreciate you being here. And your comments are part of the record. So even if we table it for this month, you're welcome to come next month. It's just been past precedent that this board has, in situations like this, tabled it and given the applicant 1 month to show up again. It's not saying it's gonna change our decision, whatever that decision is, it just simply has been what we've done.
And Mr. Chairman, what is involved in even if we wanted to reverse our decision?
We would have to consult our attorney,
And
I think
he's
it's
not
almost
here.
and he's not here.
impossible.
We really can't overturn our decision without consulting our attorney. And that we have a previous decision on record that he was instructed to remove that portion of the driveway up to 2 feet from the property line. That is our previous board's decision. He has not complied. Mr. Walker
Walker.
has not complied with. That is why he has been cited and why he has been scheduled for court.
Mhm.
We are not the court. But we cannot. It just has been past precedent that in situations like this, we table it for 1 month
Mhm.
as almost a grace period. Just, again, not saying we're changing or we're saying yes or no,
Mhm.
but give him as the applicant 1 month opportunity to show up and then make our decision.
That's it. We know he's in court.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have all that documentation on
Uh-huh.
our end.
So I
and
really don't need to come next month?
That is up to you.
Mhm.
And if he doesn't come, well, then there's me. No, but we're not gonna do anything with that, cause he's gotta be in court. And
Yeah.
after court, it just depends.
Court supersedes us.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if he's playing games with us and he knew he wasn't gonna, he was home. I mean, he lives right next door. He's
Yeah.
home.
So
Hold on,
I'll make the motion to table
for 1 month.
for 1 month.
Mhm.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Wertschok on the motion, Mr. Miranda,
Aye.
Mrs. Wertschok,
Aye.
Mr. Kenny Young,
Aye.
Ms. Alt,
Aye.
and I vote.
Okay, your work is very interesting.
Thank you.
It's better than watching TV,
Yeah,
really. I said,
Right.
"God, it's better than staying up watching TV."
The above ground tank ones.
I know you had a chair open too, so.
Yeah. All right, I will make a motion to adjourn at 8:27
Okay.
PM on the do I have a second?
And I shouldn't worry about anything then, correct?
No.
Thank you both for
Alright.
your time.
Coming.
On the motion,
Two.
Mr. Miranda,
Aye.
Ms. Wertschok,
Aye.
Mr. Kenny Young,
Aye.
Ms. Alt.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Meeting's adjourned, 8:27 PM.
Are we done recording?
No, so